What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Coach's Corner podcast. I am your host, Jace Pratt, along with my co-host, Gary Sweeney. In this episode, we are joined with Coach Lance Kight. Coach Kight is from Owasso, Oklahoma. He went to Coffeyville Community College to be a high jumper, and then he graduated from the University of Central Oklahoma. And there's a lot more to it, but I'll let him get to talk to that. But I am proud to introduce my high school head coach, the guy who inspired me to be a coach, Coach Kight. Hey, what's up, Coach? How are you doing?
Doing good tonight, Jace. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, so I know there's a lot more to it. Kind of just explain from your first year of getting a coaching job to where you are now, and just tell me all the spots you've been at.
Woo! It's been a roller coaster ride, man. I just turned. I'll be 51 in October, so this is my 26th year of coaching high school basketball, and it's crazy because I look back and just doing this podcast with you, I'm like, golly, we hadn't I hadn't coached you since 2017, I guess 16,
Yeah,
and 8 years ago. Time's flying, man. But
I
no,
know.
I started out when I got out of UCO. I jumped right into coaching. I got on at a middle school in Putnam City, and was
Okay.
the eighth grade coach there at Putnam City for 1 year. Had the opportunity. Tony Roach, who's at Veneta now, and just
Hmm.
a couple years older than me. Tony, we were both in our 20s, and Tony was the head coach at Yukon, and got in contact with him and became his assistant over there for a couple of years. I guess I stayed with Tony 3 years and decided to come back to the eastern side of the state. I took my
Hmm.
first head coaching job at Locust Grove, Oklahoma, in the early 2000s. And I'll be 100% honest, Jace. I thought I was ready, and I was nowhere close to being ready. My daughters, I think they were 2 or 3 years old at that time. And man, having twins and being on the road all the time, I wasn't ready. I look back now and I thought I knew it all, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so bad. Got back to being an assistant for the next couple of years. Went over and joined Coach Lewis's staff at Coweta for a couple of years. Got a great opportunity then to spend 2 years at Memorial. And it was at that time I felt my daughters had started elementary school, and I said, you know what, I'm going to look for a
Hmm.
head coaching job. And just so happened Sperry come along. I can't tell you how many people tried to talk me out of taking the Sperry job, but I got to spend almost a decade there, man. I got to coach your brother. Went to those 4 state tournaments in a row. I mean, had an unbelievable run, time of my life. Didn't like the way it ended, but I look back now and I'm in a better place. Professionally and
Hmm.
spiritually. I did a lot
Hmm.
of growing on both sides of that. After I was let go at Sperry, Jordan and Peyton asked me to coach them for a couple of years. They were going into their junior season, so I went down to Hilldale in Muskogee, coached girls basketball 2 years, and if you don't think everything's meant to be, I come on at Bixby then after my Hilldale tenure as the assistant, and a year later I'm the head coach. And now looking back 4 years later, I've been there. This is my fifth year, and we got the
Hmm.
program rolling, man. So it's been a great run. Love what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, that's awesome to hear. Definitely. Yeah, as you said, yeah. Oh, you did surprise me about taking the Hill Dog job because I was like, I wonder how that's gonna be. But
Yeah, I love the girls down there. I love coaching my own kids, but man, these I give it up to girls basketball coaches. It's not for
yeah,
me. I'm not a
yeah,
girls coach. But I like to play too fast and throw too long of passes, and physically, it's just impossible to do in girls basketball. But had a great time down there for 2 years, but was definitely ready to get back on the boys' side.
yeah. So you probably know Garrett's dad, but Coach Sweeney, he was down at Stillwell this year,
Yes.
the girls coach. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
um, he knows a little about the girls side.
I believe he was. I believe he was at Jay when I was at Hilldale. We had some good battles there. Really good coach. Like I said, I give it up to these guys that can stay on the girls' side that long. Just not for me.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it,
Yeah.
but good for him.
So so why basketball? What made you choose basketball? Why did you get into basketball? Because I know you were an outstanding track athlete. What got you into basketball?
I just loved the game. My dad was football coach at Owasso and track coach, and And back then, I mean, we pretty much did everything. I played 3 sports. There was one year I played 4 sports. I pitched and I high jumped at the same time. And
Hmm.
so, I mean, it was just kind of in the late 80s, early 90s. That's what you did. But I just loved the game of basketball. I was a big Jordan guy. I mean, that was my idol growing up. Everybody wanted to be like Mike. Uh, as I got into college and just hung around the game so much, when about my probably late in my junior year of college, I was like, you know what, I want to coach and I want to coach basketball. I want to dive head first into this. I started going to clinics and I was more worried about coaching than playing at that time. And when I came out, man, I love the game and I love how the game's evolved. I think guys my age have seen it go from it's got to touch the post, and now here at Bixby, we probably shoot more threes than anybody in the state of Oklahoma. I know at Sperry we did, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I just love the fun style, man. I don't know. I stayed up. I'm tired tonight because I stayed up till midnight watching the daggum Thunder last night.
Well, that is true. That game took a while. But no, I like how you said kind of the pace of the game. And I mean, shoot, I enjoy playing it and then also enjoy watching it. It's just
Yep.
I don't know, there's them back down bruisers. Like, I mean, it is fun to watch, but I like those fast paced games for sure.
No
Um,
doubt.
but what so who or what inspired you to be a coach? And kind of just talk about that.
Well, my dad was a Hall of Fame coach at Owasso, so I think it was in my blood. Didn't really have a choice. I mean, I just grew up around it. I can remember Dad tagging me around when I was 5, 6 years old to football games, and just being around him and watching his passion and just watching how he could change kids and how he impacted their lives. That was a big one for me. I took it for granted. Even when I was at Sperry, I took it for granted on the impact we make as coaches on young men and young women. And now that I'm in my 50s, I look and I'm like, man, that's what it's all about. To see a guy graduating, to get a wedding invitation, to see a guy get a big promotion, to see a guy get married or have kids, and I mean that's to be successful in life and know you played a little part in that. That's a pretty cool thing. And you know, I'd have to say my dad didn't push me. I just followed his lead, and once I started doing it, man, the impact we can make as coaches is second to none.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, shoot, I'll talk about this later, but you definitely inspired me to be a coach. But so your dad being a track coach, what kind of coaching tactics or track slash football, but him being a coach, what kind of coaching tactics did you take from him?
You know, being a player's coach, Dad was hard, but he was fair. Growing up, he was hard on me. He was harder on me than anybody else on the team, but he was very fair, and he was fair with all the other players. I tried to do that. I did it when I coached you. I try to treat number 16 like I treat number 1. Parker Fredrickson was back in the gym today, and we were talking about just how he really appreciated the time that I took, and I chewed on him, but I loved him at the same time because he said, man, at the Division I level at Wake Forest, you get a lot more chewings than loving. And
Mm-hmm.
I've got a kid right now, Tristan Driver, that's one of the best guards in the state. And I push him to his limit every day, but, you know, I praise him at the same time. I think Dad pushed being a player's coach. I think today, man, I love some of the hard-nosed coaches in the past, the Bobby Knights of the world, but man, that style's just, it's really hard to make it work nowadays.
No, that is true. That's one thing that I've definitely experienced now. Especially like I can see my dad kind of being lenient with Seth at times now, you know how it is, him being the younger brother. But
Yep.
yeah, no, that's awesome to hear. What are so your experience? So you were a head coach at Hilldale, right? Then you went to be an assistant again. Um, kind of tell you the kind of the change to that, and then to going back to the head coach. Kind of talk to me about your experience from being the assistant then to the head coaching
Yeah,
staff.
you know what? I tried the head coach, like I said, when I was about your age. I think I was 25 years old when I took that first head coaching job, and I just simply wasn't ready for it. Now, times have changed a lot. I went the assistant route for a long time. After I got let go there at Sperry, I was pretty down. It was probably one of the lowest points in my life. And I went to Hilldale. I had a good 2 years. but there wasn't, I'll be honest, Jace, there wasn't a whole lot of boys jobs that I felt like, man, you can be successful at. And so I said, you know what? I've not tried the 6A level. I had the opportunity to go be an assistant there. And Coach Fairchild, the guy that was the head coach at Bixby, he called me and said, I want you to run your offense. You can basically be my offensive coordinator. I'm going to let you run the show. I want to get up and down the floor. I want to shoot a lot of threes, run the transition break. And it sounded like a good gig. And so I was completely fine with being the assistant, running my offense that I like to run. And it just so happened a year later, the head coaching position opens up, and luckily administration, for my part, had enough faith to give me the job, and we've been rolling since.
No, yeah, no, that's one thing I've kind of learned definitely from growing up watching your system and the way you got your players is just to play hard in general and being a part of it. That's that's the ultimate thing you want as a coach, is just getting your team just to play hard. And you've found success through that, and that's one thing I hope to have in my players.
If you've got to coach kids to play hard, or you got to coach toughness nowadays, you're in trouble. It better start right there with, they better respect you, they better respect each other, and they better play hard. That's the three things. I don't care if you're at a Class A or 6A programs. If guys don't buy into that, you're not going to be very successful.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Good.
What are some challenges that you've had being a high school head coach? You can talk from just player wise to coaching wise to anything.
You know, it's so much harder nowadays because everybody. It's not just a Bixby thing. This is all across the state at all levels. You've got shooting coaches, you've got individual trainers, you've got different people in everybody's ear, and to keep the team concept number one, and we talk about it every day, you've got to choose team over I. The stats will come if you put the time in, but you got to be a team first guy. And I think it's just the mentality of kids that they're, I see it in young kids in 4th and 5th grade, see a lot of selfish play. And it's one reason I coach 8th grade at Bixby. And the reason I do it, I think I'm one of the few 6A coaches in the state that still coaches middle school. That's where you break those bad habits. I see so many middle school kids that are selfish and nobody tells them any different. Well, then as a sophomore, junior, they expect them to change. That's just not going to happen. I think if kids respect you and you teach them at that early age, you can break those habits pretty easily. Boy, when they get to be about 16, 17 years old, it's really tough to break them if they've heard it going the other way for the last 7 or 8 years. That's one of the major obstacles. One of the obstacles just in general in Oklahoma is a football state. I mean, it just is. And you have to understand that basketball's always going to play a second fiddle at 99% of your schools in the state of Oklahoma. I mean, I'm living proof at Bixby. We got the best football program in the state of Oklahoma. I think Coach has won, 5 or 6 straight state championships, 9 of the last 10. I understand the pecking order. I think there's a lot of basketball coaches that try to fight that and not embrace it. I've got a great relationship with our football coaches at Bixby. I've got a great relationship with my guys that come out of football and play for me. I've got some that are in the gym all the time. I got some of my better, stronger athletes that come out of football. You got to embrace that. And any young coach that turns a nose at the football program, that's not going about it the right way.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's good to hear, because obviously, that's where I'm going at. I'm going to, most of my players are going to be from football. And so it's that's nice to hear. You've been in the coaching scene a while, and I'm a firm believer that you're still learning. You're still going to learn. What is a weakness that you've learned this past year of yourself that you want to kind of improve?
One of my big weaknesses is at the 3A level. 90% of the time we were as athletic or more athletic than everybody we played till we got deep into the state tournament against a Centennial or a Millwood or somebody like that. And so we could be ultra aggressive on defense every possession. Man, at the 6A level, you play some freak athletes every single night. Everybody's got a Division I, Division II player, multiple ones. And so I've had to play more zone at Bixby. Not saying we're not good athletes, but man, when you're going up some nights against Union and some of the Oklahoma City schools, I mean, just freaky athletes, it's hard to keep guys in front of you. And so we still pressure. We pick up full court man. We play a lot of pressure man. We still trap, as I used to tell you, in places you shouldn't be able to trap. But I have had to back off some and just simply play a lot more zone to keep people in front of us. I want to play fast. I want to get after you. I want to keep constant pressure. I believe pressure breaks pipes. But I have had to take I wouldn't say a step back, but a tiny step back on some of the pressure that we do at Bixby.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I like how you said, just the different athletes there are, and just from 6A to all the way to small town schools. I
It's
definitely
crazy.
see that. And being a recruiter or being at the college level, definitely like you can see the difference, the ultimate difference. But what is what are some ways you do to better yourself as a coach? What do you?
I'm constantly going to clinics every summer, every off season in the fall, try to catch some things. And I'm not one of these guys that writes a lot down. I'm more of a visual guy. If I go to a clinic, I think too many people go to a clinic and they hear 8 speakers and they try to emulate 8 guys. I might hear 8 speakers and write one thing down over an 8-hour day. I try to pick up something that I think will benefit my program. What's our strengths at Bixby? Our strength is shooting the basketball. I feel like we're one of the best shooting teams in the state of Oklahoma. We pride ourselves on it. I try to pick up new shooting drills, try to work on quicker first step. I'm a Euro step guy. I'm all about the new fancy moves that are out there, and we practice them every day. So I'm not so much, I'm probably too deep into my career to change my system. We're going to play fast offensively. The last 2 years in 6A, we've led the state in scoring. And that was one year, obviously, with Parker, but this year without him, we still led it. I think next year we'll be around 70 to 80 points a game. That's just something that's practiced. So I like to go and listen to offensive guys. And I'll be honest, Jace, I watch a lot of NBA. The NBA gets a bad rap. They talk about there's too much ISO ball. Watch the playoffs. These dudes are getting after it right now. Some of the best sets, especially sidelines. All our sidelines out of bounds at Bixby are NBA stuff. There's a reason we call them Memphis. We call them Cleveland. It's stuff I've stole off the NBA. They run some really good sideline and some really good sets out of timeouts.
Yeah, I mean the professionals. They've there's a reason why they're up there. But no, that's good to hear because everybody has their different opinions on NBA. I mean, I've been around it. Most college guys don't like the NBA because just the competition level. Most. I mean, I don't know, but I enjoy watching it. I mean, they're the best players. I think they're the best athletes in the world. So it's just fun watching. It's just fun watching them. But what so I got a last question here for me, but then Coach Sweeney, Garrett has a couple questions for you. But what would you like to achieve in your time as a coach?
I still want to win a state championship. It still bugs me. I can still visualize 2012 playing number 1 Washington up at Southern Nazarene, and we got the ball down one with 5 seconds to go, and Till dribbles baseline. If he just lobs it up to CJ, we take down number 1, and there's no doubt in my mind we'd have won a state championship that year. And he threw it off his knee out of bounds, and that one still haunts me. It really does. And then the next couple, I didn't really feel like we were good enough to get there. I was just happy to be there. That last one with you guys, your brother had a rough game that night. If he doesn't have a rough game, I think we take down a Toka. It is what it is. And I took it for granted. You go to 4 in a row, and man, you think, okay, I'm going to do this every year. And last year, we were 20-4 going into the playoffs. And we drew a really tough team. We drew a team that had beat us in overtime early in the season, more out of Oklahoma City in a regional final. And it come down to a final shot, and they put a shot up after the buzzer, but the refs counted it, and I didn't blame the officials. It shouldn't have come down to that. And, man, that's that slim margin I talk about every day with our guys. There's a fine line between winning and losing. And, man, if that shot doesn't count, I really think we're in the state tournament, and I thought we had the best guard in the state. This past year, we ran into a team Southmore that knocked us out. Gave us 4 losses. I'd never lost to a team 4 times. We lost to Southmore 4 times and beat Broken Arrow 3 times, who was in the state semis. It was a strange year, but it drives me every day. I want to get back to the state tournament, and I'd love to win a 6A state title.
Yeah,
awesome. That's awesome to hear. I mean, shoot, I've been a part of 2. That's my ultimate goal, man. That's not ultimate, but that's one of the goals I want to achieve as my time as a coach. But we got a couple questions here. They're called the buzzer beater questions, and Gary, you kind of want to talk about that?
Yeah, no, these are just some questions, kind of a little not as much about your coaching career. I guess there's a couple in there, but more on like a personal level. And so,
Yeah.
So the first one I got on here is taking you back to your track days. What's your PR in high jump?
Best I ever jumped was 6'10.5". Jumped that in college,
Oh, wow.
out in Garden City, Kansas.
Oh, wow.
That's
There you go.
I could get up
like that
pretty good
anymore.
back in the day.
No,
I've
good.
seen a
That's
couple. I
crazy.
mean, I've seen a couple. I mean, he would. I don't know. I don't remember, but he would get up in practice and dunk the ball, and it surprised me a little bit. Not gonna lie to you,
I've had a knee replacement since
Yeah.
then, so those days are long gone.
No, he would
That's
joke
awesome.
around about saying like, "Hey, if I didn't get this knee replacement, I'd dunk on you," or something like that. I remember those.
Oh, man.
But
That's good. All right, my next one I got is, what has been your favorite win you've been a part of in your career?
Woo, that's a good one right there. Oh my goodness, probably beating Verdigris at Verdigris when they were ranked number 1. I believe Jace was in 7th or 8th grade
yeah,
at that time.
That was with
And
Brewster.
yes, and
Jade.
they were loaded. They were
Oh
ranked
my
number 1 in
goodness,
the
yeah.
state. We went over there. The fire marshal shut the gym down about 20 minutes before game time. I mean, it was standing room only,
Oh,
and
wow.
played an unbelievable atmosphere over there. Beat him. It was Randy Upshaw's only loss on his home floor in his tenure at Verdigris up to that
Yeah.
point. And I mean, just a tremendous game. That one would rank right up there. We beat Booker T at Booker T 2 years ago. Parker had 27 in the second quarter, and
Oh, wow.
it was the best individual performance. And I had Jace hit 14 threes and a half, and this one bested that as far as just the athletes that were double teaming him. And to go to Booker, and I think we put 94 or 96 on the board up there. That would be what those 2 would be the highlight for me.
And those are some good games. It sounds like that you got to be a part of. So that's
Yes.
really cool. My next question is, what is your favorite hobby outside of basketball?
Fishing, no doubt. Just
Fishing.
bought a brand new pontoon boat about a month ago. I call it my pre-retirement gift because I think I financed it for about 7 years, and that's what I've got left before I can retire. So I love fishing. I grew up fishing with my dad on the lake, and when I was coaching Jace at Sperry, I fished every weekend, and I'm kind of getting back into that mode of that's my Coach Kight time. I like getting out on the water. Sometimes just me, my wife, and my dog, not even fishing, just out there boating, and it's relaxing. I can kind of get to my happy place.
That's nice. Yeah, and that sounds like my dad. My dad loves to go fishing. Him and my brother.
Yep.
That's what they did that a lot growing up. So he's back to doing that now that he's only got a couple more years left. So he's back on that fishing grind. Well, cool. Next one, which I mean, you may not even have an answer to this or not. I don't know. You probably do, but are you an OU or OSU fan? Oklahoma.
You know, I used to be more of an OU fan. Lincoln Riley just kind of turned me off the Sooners. I don't know. I never liked him, even when he was winning. I didn't care for him. Thought he was a little arrogant. Just didn't really like the guy. I've kind of turned into more of a Gundy fan as I've got older. I normally root for both of them. As far as college football, I was a big Nick Saban fan, big Alabama guy. College basketball, oh man, I think college basketball's so bad right now because it's overcoached at all levels. I've kind of turned into a Wake Forest fan because I got a kid playing there.
There you go.
But I've always been a Mark Few Gonzaga guy. Love what he does. little bit of Izzo, Michigan State. I just love his toughness. Always, we talked
Yeah.
about that back when I was coaching Jason. Just everybody thought we were great shooters, and on nights we were, but man, we were great rebounders, and we did a lot of Michigan State offensive rebounding stuff.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's really good. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think Gonzaga, I mean, they always make some really deep runs in March
Yep,
Madness, and it shows with the way they play and the way they're coached. So
no doubt.
my last one, I think I know your answer on this too, but maybe I don't. Who do you think should have won the MVP, Shea or Jokic?
Oh man, I'll go Homer and say Shea. I don't have a problem with the Joker. I mean, he's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Makes everybody better. If I've got to have a final shot with 6 seconds on the clock, I'm giving it to Shea. But you can't go wrong with either. I mean, I like the way they both play the game. They play the game the right way. It's
yeah,
not about them. It's about getting their teammates better. They're both pretty humble dudes, and I'm big
Yeah.
fans of both of them.
yeah. No, I agree with that. I can go with that take for sure. I'm obviously a little biased. I think Shea should have won, but I don't think Joker had a chance. Like he should have won it as
Right,
well. So, like you said, they
Yeah.
both play great basketball, and they both make the guys around them better. So,
without a doubt.
Did you see what Aaron Gordon said about in his interview?
I did
oh
It
not.
was
no,
it was really cool. He said I don't even remember, but he got asked a question like um he started being unselfish. Aaron Gordon did, and then like what made him do that? And he was like, if the 3-time MVP can be unselfish, then why can't I? And
Yeah,
it's
that
like,
that stuff's contagious.
hmm
yeah, no, it is, and you see why they're winning, and that's just, I mean, it was awesome to hear that. So I got two questions. What is one piece of advice you wish you knew at the beginning of your career that you know now?
Ooh, you're a better coach with good players.
That is
There's
true.
no doubt. I mean, I turned into a real good coach when CJ Cole grew to 225
Uh
pounds
huh.
and was tearing the rim off. I turned into a much better coach when Peyton Pratt was going 16 of 16 from the line in a regional finals game. I turned into a much better coach when I could say, Jace, don't worry about missing a few shots, knock it down. When Parker Fredrickson, Xavier Glenn get the ball in their hands, get out of their way. Good players, great players make great coaches.
Man, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now this is a really important one. Who's the better Pratt?
Woo! Woo!
And I know you're going to be as honest because you're the most honest person I know, and I know you're going to be as
I,
honest. Hey, and it's not going
I'll
to
be
hurt.
100% honest. It's comparing apples to oranges. Peyton
Okay.
is a more complete player than Jace. He was a better rebounder, ball handler, defender. Jace is the second best, maybe tied for the best shooter I've ever coached. You and Parker
Take
had
that.
that shoot off a few years ago in my little
Yeah.
kids camp, and I
I
tell
remember.
Parker, I tell him all back when he was playing for me. I said, "Man, you're the second best shooter I've ever coached." He's like, "Coach, you never." I was like, "No, I did. You're a better player than Jace, but he's right there with you shooting the three ball, man."
I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. And
Yeah,
I mean, I wish you would have the chance to coach Seth, but he's
yeah.
honestly, but that's for another time. I'm not going to talk about us. But anyways, Coach, thanks for being on here, man. I just want to let you know that you really inspired me to be a coach. I mean, I've seen you from 2012, from watching you to being able to be a part of your team, and the way you just make players just play hard and make teams just be together. So I really do appreciate you and appreciate you coming on here. It's always nice to hear you speak and talk to you and just see you at times. So yeah, thanks for being on here.
that's that's awesome, Jason. I'm so super proud of you. I wish you all the success in the world, man. You were one of my favorites to coach. I followed you. I love that you got on staff at NSU, and now you're moving into the high school ranks. Can't wait to see what you do. Don't overcomplicate things, man. Keep it simple, stupid. When things are going bad, keep it simple, stupid. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, and I think too many times, like I said, we're overcoaching them. It's something that I just refuse to do. Let players make plays, let them play through mistakes, and they'll play a lot better for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, thanks again, Coach. I'm definitely going to take some notes and just listen to this again and just pick out some parts that I've heard from you. Gary, you got anything?
No, thanks, Coach, for coming on. I got a lot from what you said, just and overcoaching, just like what you said, just right there. Keep it simple, stupid. I think that's going to be something I just hold on to for a long time.
Yep.
And just hearing how you get your players to play hard, and so I think that's gonna be the biggest thing. I'm
Get them to play hard,
well.
rep what you're doing. Don't draw up stuff that you've never ran at the end of a game. I used to do that when I was younger. Now, anything we run at the end of a game is something we've repped time and time and time again. They're creatures of habit. If they've done it over and over, it's going to happen for them. It just takes that one guy to screw up a play, and it blows up in our face.
No, that's what I mean.
Thanks,
especially learning from Coach Havens here. But this one inbounds play that we have, like the buzzer beater, the last second play is just that one play, and just repping it. We repped it every shoot around before every game, every single time. And I mean, you've seen some success from it, because I mean, it'd be hard to mess up because you're just repping it.
Exactly.
But anyways, thank you guys for listening. You can follow us on Instagram and X. But anyways, this is the Coach's Corner podcast. Until next week's episode, see you guys later. Like Mavis, no shame, baby, you know I'm shameless. Thank God that I'm in his good graces, and he never took a loss like Vegas.